Good to see everyone. Thanks for coming out on this rainy day. Welcome to all of you online on YouTube. We welcome you as well for our beautiful Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living Wednesday service. So let's begin with prayer. Let's turn within for a moment here. And so we just get to relish in and cherish that beautiful truth that there is a presence, there is a power, there is an intelligence, and there's just this presence of love and wholeness and harmony that indwells all that is all that is. Everything is sacred, everything is holy. Everywhere this presence is alive and expressing itself. And we remember the great truth that this presence of goodness, of love, of wholeness, harmony is our very nature, is expressing as us, that we are a unique divine expression of that one, whole, perfect, complete life that is God, that is Spirit. And so in this awareness of our wholeness, completeness, perfection in God, in the mind of God, in the body of God, in the essence of God, in the essence of Spirit, in the essence of life, I speak this word to bless our time here together today. I know that we're ready. We are ready to receive what is ours to receive today, and we're ready to be what is ours to be today in the co-creating of what this experience is. I know that Reverend Mary, as our speaker today, Reverend Mary Morgan, that the presence of Spirit is moving through her in such beautiful ways. Love and wisdom are combining to create the most beautiful, insightful talk that touches everyone in just the right way that it is meant to touch them. And so I just bless this time together. I know it is so perfect. In gratitude, I just release this word. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Well, surprise, surprise, we have a few announcements. Would you all like to hear the announcements? All right. So our Spanish-speaking study group is moving to once a month. It'll be on the second Thursday of each month from 12 to 1 p.m., and that study group is using Ernest Holmes' book, This Thing Called You, the Spanish version. Tomorrow is Ecstatic Dance. How many of you are going to come dance with us tomorrow? Who's going to come? Zora is going to come dance. All right. We have a really good time, and I really encourage us to have this experience of being in our bodies in a way that's so freeing. You know, there's so many ways that we're prescribed in our bodies, right? We walk a certain way, you know, we sit a certain way. Even if we do yoga and other things like I do, it's still a certain way. And this is the one thing where we just let the body be totally free to do what it wants to do, and it's so freeing and so healing. So I invite you to come and have that experience. Also, this Sunday, Michelle Pascal is here for a special meditation at 12:30 after service right here in the sanctuary. Tickets are $35. You can see Doris at the front desk after the service. We are closed this coming Monday, so the staff gets some rest for President's Day. So don't come by on Monday because we won't be here. Let's see, the drumming circle is on hiatus. Drumming circle is on hiatus. Wednesday, February 19th, we have our next vegan potluck. And the last one, I was all excited, and then I got COVID and wasn't able to be there. But we had 72 people, and I wasn't there. I was the host. I'm like, okay, I'm hosting 72 people, but I'm not there. This time, I'm going to decide to show up, actually. So please join us, even if you're not vegan. It's a beautiful experience, and the food will be tremendous. And you'll see, when people are always asking me as a vegan, what do you eat? Come see what we eat, because we eat a lot of really good food. Let's see. Come join the concert and dance party on Friday, February 21st, so not this Friday, but the following Friday, 6 p.m. in Richelieu Hall with our beloved Soundscape Orchestra. No cost for this event. And our beloved Linda Gauthier is offering 2 times for her painting workshop. And she's had many people that come out of her painting workshops and end up being artists after that and end up becoming prolific painters. So if that calls to you, there's 2 different times you can do it. You could either do it Friday, February 28th, or you could do it Saturday, March 1st. See the flyers on the activity table. We also have a new day and time for our Labyrinth Walk. It'll be the first Wednesday of each month after the service. So on the first Wednesday of each month after this, we'll have the Labyrinth out there, and you could come out of here and go walk the Labyrinth. We felt that fits because the people are already here, and it used to be after the Thursday discussion group, but that group is on hiatus. So there's no one here. There's a full list of activities in the weekly e-newsletter, the Spirit Speaks magazine, as well as on our activity table in the lobby. Also out there are handouts for the Season for Nonviolence, and also a flyer for the Bears of Love. You see, we got all these bears in here. You can get the flyer, see what that's all about. These bears will go to children, so they're soaking up all of our energy during the month of February of love and high spiritual energy, and then they will be given to children. And a big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you all so much, and you are the way that we are doing all that we do. Thank you so much. And without further ado, because I'm sure you didn't come just for the announcements, without further ado, let's welcome our beloved, wonderful minister, Reverend Mary Morgan.
Stand real quick, and then I'll be up there. Thank you very much, Reverend Gregory. Okay. This is where I get my weightlifting in. I was a lion tamer in a previous life, I think, right? Back Congo. Good morning, my beloved Redondo Beach. How are you? It's good to see everyone. I'm going to lift this up a little bit. Oh, we're here. It's February. I always think of February as the month of love. So my topic is All You Need Is Love. I wanted to start with a little story, though, about a couple that are soulmates, okay? So we need a little laughter, I think. I think a little laughter could be happy. So there's this couple that is married, and they know that they're soulmates. They're absolutely positive of it. And they're getting up in years, and they've been married like 35 years. But they're beginning to realize that they're losing their memory a little bit. So they go to the doctor, and they get tested, and the doctor says, oh, don't worry, you're fine. You're fine. Everything's great. All your physical stuff came back great. But you know, I'll give you a suggestion. When you are doing things, write them down, and then you'll remember. So they go, okay, that's a good idea. So they go home, and the wife looks at the husband and says, you know, honey, I'd like a bowl of ice cream. And he goes, okay, I'll go get you a bowl of ice cream. And she goes, but you know, like the doctor said, you better write it down. He goes, I don't need to write it down. It's a bowl of ice cream. So she goes, okay. And she goes, oh, but you know what? I would like a bowl of ice cream with whipped cream. He goes, bowl of ice cream with whipped cream, coming right up. And she goes, honey, write it down. And he goes, come on, it's simple. Bowl of ice cream, whipped cream, I got it. She goes, well, can I add one more thing? I want to put a cherry on top. So it's a bowl of ice cream, whipped cream, and a cherry. Got that? And he goes, I do. She goes, please write it down. He goes, honey, I got it, trust me. He goes into the kitchen, and he's gone for like 30 minutes and then longer, and there's a lot of fuss going on in the kitchen, and she's figuring, what is going on? And with that, he comes out with a big plate of bacon and eggs. And she goes, honey, I told you to write it down. Where's the toast? That's true love, isn't it? I was thinking about all the instances of love that we feel. And it's not just, you know, love of a soulmate, husband, partner, whatever, but it's also, it starts always with self-love, doesn't it? Because the way we love ourselves is what we project out into the world, and that's how the world is going to love us back. If we can't receive love, then everything that comes on that plane of love, it's not going to register with us, and we're going to turn away from it, right? I have a little cat. His name is Bo, and he's going to be 5 in June. And he started out as a little hellion, I will say. He was a little wild guy. guy, but he's such a little lover now. At night, he'll look at me, and I'll be like, is it time? And he's like, yeah. So he wants to come up, and he sits on my chest and puts his arms around my neck, and we watch TV together. And if I move or if I sneeze, that's a big one. If I sneeze, he's like, stop, you're ruffling the feathers here. I'm like, goodness gracious. But I thought, what a little loving act. So I thought, love is not limited to people. It can be our animals as we're looking. I'm kind of wearing a sweater just like your puppy. Did you notice that? What's your puppy's name? Kobe. So oh, Hobie. Okay, Hobie. So look at Hobie. I mean, Hobie is just like a demonstration of love. In fact, our pets are way more a demonstration of love a lot of times than a lot of the people in our lives, wouldn't you say? Like at least there's unconditional love that goes on there. But the idea is that when we begin with self-love, when we allow love to come into our experience, it comes into our experience at the level that we can accept it, just like everything in this teaching says. Everything comes to us by a wave of vibration at the level at which we can understand it. That's why we have that beautiful saying, we don't get what we want, we get what we are. And ponder that sometime and really think about it, that we get what we are. I have a Zoom class on Mondays, and we were talking. And anybody ever have an incident that happened in their life that ticks them off, other than me? So I had this incident that happened, and it's been a real lesson for me, and I'm still ruminating on it, still ruminating. Did you ever ruminate on something made you mad and why I oughta, and you're convinced that you are right and they are wrong, right? No matter, all the evidence is pointing towards you're right and they're wrong. Well, do you win in those circumstances? I don't know. My lesson is I had a neighbor that accused me of my fence blew down in the windstorms a couple weeks ago, and she accused my fence. I checked with her the next day, how's your car? Because she parks on the driveway. And I said, how's your car? And she goes, oh, everything's great. I moved my car the night before, and I'm leaving for Italy for 3 weeks. And I said, okay, good. We're all evacuating. And I said, I'll keep an eye out on your house. And she's like, will you water my plants? And sure, will you do this? Yeah, sure, I will. I come back, and she's back for 4 days, and she comes back and knocks on my door and says, I want to let you know your fence damaged my car. And I went, how did that happen? She's like, oh, look. So there's a dent, and I think this is symbolic. There's a dent, and it's the size of a little leaf. It's like a little pushed-in area, but it's the size of a leaf. Very important how I interpreted it, size of a leaf, because what does leaf represent? Growth. It represents growth. So I said, well, first of all, where that dent is, my fence would have hit up here. It wouldn't have poked something in the side down by your wheel well. And she's like, oh, I'm convinced. Just give me some cash. Give me $1,800. And I'm like, $1,800? I said, and my friend told me that her husband once went out to a dent and used a toilet plunger and pulled the thing, I said, wait a second. I said, you've been parked on the street for 3 weeks. You have no idea how that dent got there. And she's like, oh, I know it was your fence. So that careful word, assume, makes an ass of you and me? And I said, well, fence falling and dent in your car aren't mutually exclusive. It's not the only way that it could have happened. She goes, just give me a check and I'll go away. So I thought, I'll make you go away all right. And I thought, Mary, where is your practice here? This is a practicing moment. So I, da-da-da-da-da. Well, at any rate, we're still in the throes of it. She's filed a claim and blah, blah, blah. We'll see what happens. But the deal is that it's a good indicator whenever we're going through something. If we are spending more time on what we don't want, what comes into our experience? More of what we don't want. Now, when our gas tank is on empty, we don't get mad at the gas tank. The gas tank is just an indicator, hey, you need more fuel. So when we have an emotion that isn't positive, that isn't life-affirming, that isn't loving, it's just an indicator, hey, you're sending your energy in a field where you don't want it to go. And if you want it a different result, you have to shift your energy. So then, of course, I turned and said, okay, I'm going to bless this person every day. I did my Ho'oponopono prayer. I did all this stuff. And then I was fine. And then maybe 15 minutes later, someone went, hey, what happened with that car incident? I'm like, well, let me tell you. And then got into the story again. Don't we do that? Don't we do that? And I said, oh, my goodness. I started to go down that rabbit hole again. So I said, it sounds so elementary, but it's as simple as focus on, put your energy towards only what you desire. Spend our energy on loving thoughts, and loving thoughts come back. And it doesn't mean that things don't happen in our experience, because they do. But it's also an opportunity for us to open up to love and say, how can I love more in this situation and not feel self-righteous and judgmental and whatever it is that I feel, right? So it's a matter of loving ourselves at that level. When we act in ways to expand the self-love to ourselves, we begin to accept our strengths and our weaknesses, and we become more centered in life. I won't go into, I've got like some ideas of how to strengthen our self-love. I'll read them off to you. To be more mindful, talk about what you need rather than what you want, take good self-care, set boundaries, that's a big one, protect yourself, forgive yourself, and live intentionally. So I read that the ability to love is like an on and off switch. And when I read that, I kept thinking about that. I said, no, that's not true, because there's that little thing called the dimmer switch, So some of us don't love fully and passionately or pull away fully and passionately. Sometimes we just turn the dimmer, don't we? We kind of dim it down a little bit. And then we get disappointed that life doesn't feel as enriched or as exciting or as vibrant or whatever. But then whenever that's happening, it's just important to check in and say, what am I putting out there? What have I not forgiven? What am I not loving about myself? And how can I do it more so that I can create the experience that I want? Because I wrote this down. You are an extension of soul energy, period. You and I are an extension of soul energy. And what that means is God is my source. Not only is God my source, but God is the very essence from which I operate. Now, sometimes in my human self, I go, thanks God, I got this, right? But the moment that we dial into the power that we have to use for good, as they say, then everything smooths out. Love has a way of smoothing out all those rough edges when we can't see the answer. In my kitchen, actually from the front of my house, but I have a little table in the window in my kitchen, and I have a great view of the mountains, and it's really wonderful. You sit there and drink your coffee and write in your book, and I'm looking at the mountains and listening to the birdies and all that stuff. But sometimes on a cloudy day, those mountains disappear. So if you came over to my house on a cloudy day, you'd have to take my word for it that there's mountains there, because you'd never know that they were there. You have to trust that I remember going on a trip. I lived in Idaho for almost 8 years, and my dad came out to visit one time, and we all went up to Canada, and there were the Canadian Rockies, but it was cloudy, overcast, and rainy. I said, Dad, there's the most beautiful mountain range there. He's like, I don't want to hear about it, because he couldn't see it. So he's like, I don't even get to see it. I go, well, we'll have to get postcards or something. But he couldn't see the mountains. We saw them on the way back, but on the way up, it was like, whoa, big weather situation, so we couldn't see anything. It's the same with our life. We may go through times where things may seem negative or dark or in dispute or in conflict or whatever, and we can't see that love. But the important thing is to know it and trust it from within, and to trust that I am an absolute extension of my source energy. And that source energy is always guiding me the second I turn my mind to it. But if I turn my mind away from it, what happens? It isn't that it isn't there. It's just saying, I'm waiting, I'm here, but you're not paying attention. So I ask you to ask yourself this question. What's one thing I can do today to love myself and to love others? at the La Crescenta Church, where I am, I had the little boxes of candy hearts that I passed out. I don't know if we could do it here because this is a voluminous audience on Sundays, but mine was a little less than that. So I made candy hearts for everybody, and I wrote everybody's name on it, and I threw it in a bag, and I said, I've got candy hearts for everybody, but guess what? You're going to reach in and you're going to pick out a box, and it may not have your name on it, but you got to go find that person and give them a hug. Everybody, it was pandemonium in a joyous way. It was so, everybody was so happy. They're like, I didn't know your name was, they're like, who's Robert? I'm like, he's over there in the third row. And they're like, whoa. So they went over there, and it was so much fun. And they're like, wow, it really brought me out of myself. Some of the folks live by themselves, or they're alone, or somebody was in a relationship breakup, and it took them out of themselves. Sometimes it's something as simple as that to get us, we can watch a comedy, or, we can give somebody a rose or a flower or a something, and just give it away and feel that feeling, because that gets you right back into that frequency of love, which many times we're kind of dialed out of if we're thinking about self-preservation, etc. It begins with training our minds to think into the result that we want to see rather than the condition that we're facing right now. So I said, well, Mary, you better practice your own medicine, because I am blessing this person and loving them and sending them love and sending all this stuff. And I said, you know what? It's a matter of raising my vibration. So what I wound up doing was thanking that neighbor for opening me up to a new level of loving. I don't know if you've ever been in a conflict with anyone, but I can tell by the laughter that maybe you have. So, but the thing is if we write out, I love you. I love you. I'm sending you love. I'm knowing your truth. I'm knowing your highest good. I'm knowing my highest good. Something shifts when we start to focus on that. I wrote this down. Life creates situations that push you to your edges with all the effects of removing the blocks that are inside of you. So that, we create these situations, and you could say, wait a second. I didn't create this situation. I didn't want this thing to happen. If I'm such a co-creator with God, then why aren't I creating the things that I want? Did you ever ask yourself that? Why aren't I creating the things that I want if I'm a co-creator? Well, guess what? Use as your Geiger counter, where are your feelings? Where are your thoughts? Where is your energy? And just dial into, am I putting more energy on? Sometimes we get fearful of, I don't want that to happen. I sure wouldn't want to lose my job. Sure wouldn't want my relationship to break up. Sure wouldn't want to get in an accident. Whatever it is, where are we putting our energy? And then just stop it. Just knock it off. Snap out of it. Stop doing it. It's so simple. You just go, just stop? Yeah, just stop. Just stop putting that energy there. And then when you wake up, you go, okay. I may not feel it full-heartedly, but guess what? I'm just now going to put this energy into this, and I'm just going to see where that leads me. Because love can lead the way. I wrote this morning because I remember this. One time when I was in my job, I had some difficulty with my boss. He was very loud and aggressive and kind of a bully. And I didn't resonate with that behavior. And so I thought, okay, if I've created this. So I had little tricks for myself that would crack me up. And then it kind of changed things. I know it's going to sound weird, but so I'm typing at my keyboard and I'm doing all my spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. And I bought this little button, and it was an eject button. And so I put it on my computer. And when I'd get really mad, I'd just push that eject button, like, okay, I'm ejecting these thoughts, I'm ejecting this stuff. And it just kind of helped me snap out of my own energy. I know there's a refresh button on our computer, and we can do that. So for me, what kind of got me into more of a silly mood was to go, I'm just going to push the eject button when the guy acts in a way that I don't resonate with, right? But we can do things like that to make ourselves snap out of it. And it doesn't have to be so serious. It can be kind of silly. In fact, silly may be more fun. There is a one of my all-time favorite authors is Frederick Bales. He wrote this brilliant book, How Your Mind Can Heal You. If you get a chance, fabulous book. And he has this saying, There is a healing power in the universe that is ready to flow into our experience as soon as we stop blocking the flow with mental barricades that we set up. Doesn't that make sense? When we stop building barricades that stop love from flowing in, all of a sudden it flows in. I love this quote too, one of my all-time favorite movies, The Wizard of Oz. The wizard says to the Tin Man, I always thought about this. This isn't always what we were trained to think. And remember, my sentimental friend, that a heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much others love you. Isn't that interesting? I don't know about you, but I wasn't trained that way. It was always how much you can love the other person. Thus, probably a lot of people in this room have given way too much of themselves without getting returned, without filling up our tank. I feel two friends yanking each other. We give away everything, right? And then all of a sudden we're empty and exhausted and say, what's wrong? It's like, yeah, you gave away too much. It's how much others love you. How much others love you. The other thing I was thinking about is that, when you're in love, when somebody loves you, what happens is it helps you re-fall in love with yourself, doesn't it? Because they bring out this greatness in you that maybe you didn't always recognize, or it was asleep or whatever. So when that person is loving you, they're bringing out, they're recognizing all these positive attributes about you, and vice versa. So it's this wonderful win-win situation where maybe you forgot about all those qualities you had, and they're helping you see it. So that's one of the things. The people we love offer us a safe place to rest and be ourselves. They in turn show us how to behave with others. Because don't we learn a lesson? Think about the people that have loved you in your life. Just think about them. I'm writing in my journal this week of all the different people, of how they've loved me and what it's brought out in me and how I've tried to emulate them. One of them was my Aunt Ruth, who was a wonderful, wonderful gal. And she was so bubbly and loving and came up with cool ideas, and we'd go do fun things, all of us together, and it was so neat. But because they loved us, we could flourish. We found wings that we didn't know we had. So I'm sure every one of us here has someone in their life, at least one or probably a lots more, because they loved us, we became who we are in the good sense of it. In the end, how much we believe about ourselves will determine how much we listen to our inner guidance. So if you believe that we're an extension of source energy, what happens? Hey, with God, all things are possible. There's nothing that can stop or block me. I am completely knowing the truth about myself. There was one more thing I wanted to share. In my house, I have that saying, and they lived happily ever after, over my door. And you'll know that as the end of many, many fairy tales. But for me, it's an affirmation. And I put it up there because I'm like, and they're living happily ever after. And I just say that every day because guess what? That sets the tone for the day, doesn't it? It just sets, if you're choosing to live happily ever after, what could go wrong? Even if stuff happens, you can say, you know what, something good's going to come out of this. You don't need to learn to be who you are. You just need to allow your true nature to reveal and accept yourself and express yourself. So now I'd like you to look at each other, find a partner. You got to look at someone. Okay. You can even look from afar and say, I want you to say, both of you are going to say it at the same time. You can even say it to Hobie. Okay. Something wonderful is happening to you and through you this day, right now, right here and forever. I know it's true. I feel it's true. I see that it's true. I believe that it's true. It is. God is. And I am, and so it is. There you go. All right, thank you. How'd that feel? Okay, So that's our talk for today. Love is all you need. All you need is love. You know, I read a cool thing yesterday in New York on Tuesday. There was a pop-up concert that Paul McCartney did. And they notified people at 4 in the afternoon and said it was going to be at this one place in New York. And they said each person only gets one ticket. It's going to get at the door at 5 o'clock. Concert starts at 6, and the concert started at like 6:45 and played for an hour and a half. And he played all these amazing songs. And they said the room only held 575 people. So it was just this pop-up thing. And can you just imagine? I thought, well, and one of them was one of the songs he sang was "All You Need Is Love," and I'm like, yes, that's so cool. I love that. So, all right, this is the time of our offertory, of our sharing of our treasures. So I invite you to take your gift in the palm of your hands, and please affirm with me. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my gift, and I release my gift with love, and so it is. We'll give Ruth a second to do a collection. We're going to do a little guided meditation. Are you ready? It's going to be a loving guided meditation. And we're going to have this wonderfully meditative music on. We'll give it a second, though. So get comfortable in your chair. Hobie already looks comfortable. He's already zenned out. Look at him. That's why those teddy bears come in handy. I do see a penguin over there and a giraffe over there. So there's more than teddies. So just as you're sitting in the chair, just take a deep breath in. And just allow the chair to support you. And if you can, uncross your legs and your arms and just relax and let the chair support you. And breathing in, picture that breath as a grounding element for you. And as you breathe in from the earth, just feel that breath come up through the bottom of your feet and move out the top of your head and circle back around in the sky. You can smell the fresh rain coming. And now as you breathe in again, see that breath coming from way down in earth. And as it comes up this time, just see it acting like scrubbing bubbles going through your body, taking with it anything that's unlike your truth. Just see it going through every cell, every atom, every bone, every muscle, and moving up your spine and going out the top of your head and go way out into the morning sky now. And then see it circle back around one more time, grounding you as this breath comes from the very core of earth this time, moving up through the bottom of your feet. And this time, see it turning on like little lights all through your body. This radiant light moving through you, energizing, centering, balancing, moving up your spine and your shoulders and your neck, and pulling with it anything, any last vestige that does not belong to you, and then see it go way out into the universe and just transmute that stuff into the light that it really is. And let's find yourself here. Breathing, and again, we're going to take a journey. As we have a couple times before, we're going to go into our forest, but this time we're right at the path of the forest. We're opening up into this beautiful forest path. And it's wonderful temperature, and you can feel the breeze and hear the pines rustling and smell it. It smells so fresh and clear. You can see a blue sky up above. And all the little forest critters are there to greet you. There's deer and raccoon and owl and squirrel, and even there's a ladybug. There's always a ladybug. And as you're walking, you go to that clearing where you've seen before this beautiful chair carved out of a log. And it just fits you perfectly as you sit down. And there's 2 chairs. And in this moment, you're knowing that you're going to encounter your guide. And sure enough, as soon as you look over to your right, here comes your guide walking through. And with that, your guide has this beautiful heart. And you sit down, greet each other, and the guide says to you, this is a heart, this is love, and you can do with it what you want. And you accept this heart and hold it to your own. And if you want to, you can put your hand on your heart and gesture that heart going in. It is a healing heart that heals anything that needs healing or mending. Is it a difficult relationship? Is it a health challenge? Is it finances that are struggling? Whatever it is, that heart is a healing heart that you've just been given. And with that, the guide reminds you that you are purely an extension of source energy, and that God is always with you, expressing through you. And knowing that as you accepted that heart in, it opens you up to receive more love, to give more love, especially to yourself. And your angel guide says, start with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be loving to yourself. Be accepting of yourself. Be present to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. Just breathe in and accept that and know that truth. And then the angel asks you to think about all the people that have loved you and the effect their love has had on you. Bring those people into mind, whether they're here on this earth plane or not, because the moment you think of them, they are present. So think of the people that had such a divine, loving influence on you. And it could be simple things. It could be a pet. It could be a child. It could be someone that you met in the grocery store that you didn't even know that did a kind gesture. Give yourself a minute to think about the people that have loved you as you. And now think about the people that you have loved. They may not have been the people that loved you back, but think about the people that you've loved. People you've helped and shared. People you've done things for that you may not even have known. Just think of that energy, that frequency, that vibration of love that you actually exuded. Feel that feeling and what that feels like in your body. Breathing in. And with that, the angel said, is there anything that you've shut love off to? Is there somewhere you've closed down? Is there somewhere you're fearful of letting love in a relationship, in loving yourself, in speaking up for yourself, whatever it is? Think of an area that you've shut love off to. And the angel reminds you, you've just taken in love, a true love feeling. Now take that vibration, that frequency, and apply it to that difficult situation. Let go of judgment for a moment and just embrace loving that person, place, situation. Just surround it in love. However you do that, you can color it pink, you can put a heart around it, you can walk up and give the person a hug. Whatever it is, love the spots off that person or that thing or that place. Just breathe in how that feels. And as you do so, be aware of your energy, how it's changed. Have you relaxed more? Have you allowed more? Have you forgiven more? Is your body less tense? Whatever it is, let it be. And with that, the angel says, wonderful work you've done. How awesome. And you have this new understanding. You may not have words for it. You may not be able to describe it to anyone, but you know. You know how it feels to love, but to also be loved. And to have that feeling that you are worthy of love at every turn, in every moment. And so with that, you stand and you bow to your angel, your guide, and say thank you. And your guide says, whenever you need, I'm here. I'm just another branch of yourself. And so you bid your angel guide farewell. And with that, you look up into the sky and things look different. It's got a glow to it that's different. You feel lighter in your body and in your step. And as you start to walk out of the forest, seeing all the animals, they all come towards you because they're all attracted to this. They feel that vibration and they know it and they know they're safe. And it's such a wonderful feeling to just walk through and know you're surrounded in love, you are loved, and you are the expression of love in every aspect of life. And in that, you've made a commitment to be more of that love, be more of that expression. And walking out of the forest, off the little path, you find yourself back in the room. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, welcome back. How'd you like it? Did you have fun? Do you feel warm and fuzzy? That's the way to feel. Sometimes, you just have to bust yourself and say, all right, I'm not feeling warm and fuzzy. Time to get into my loving mode. So this is the time of if anybody has a prayer request, we will do a prayer treatment. And Vince will be coming with the microphone. We've got one down here, Beverly. Okay, Beverly.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for that. I have a very good friend, and she has a brain tumor, and her surgery is February 19th.
Okay.
And I just know perfect hands, perfect healing, perfect operation.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And what is her name?
Oh, Marilyn.
Marilyn. Okay. And so when we do this prayer, just know that anybody that we know that might need healing, the first thing that came to me, and I'm just going to share this, if you're driving along and your tire becomes flat, it's important not to say, I have a flat tire, right? You don't want to own it. And you say, I'm experiencing a flat tire. Feel the difference? You don't have something. So she is experiencing this little hiccup in her health, but that's not what she has. So I just wanted to, I have to stop myself. I even stopped myself in this writing when I started to write something this morning. Oh, I don't have that. So know that when we do this prayer for healing, that it encompasses everybody, okay? So whoever, we're going to say it for Marilyn, but we're going to know that anybody else out there that needs healing, This is for them as well, okay? So this prayer that I speak, I'm saying in the first person, the I am, because there is only one mind, and it's the mind of God. If it is so, as I truly believe, that I am an extension of source energy, it means that God is and I am. And that power that created me is the very power that I use, that I'm one with. We're knowing from Marilyn, as she is faced with a health challenge, and we're knowing for everyone else out there that's faced with a health challenge, that the perfection of God is being experienced right now. Right here and now, the cloud of any illness or ill health is lifted, and the truth is revealed of perfect health, the health of God expressing right in this moment. I am knowing that whatever thoughts, fears, anxieties, emotions, trepidations, facts that I'm faced with are no challenge to God. God is all, and all-powerful, and omniscient, and omnipresent, and knows all and sees all. There is no challenge that is bigger than God. So God is in this place. God is in this body of Marilyn, and God is in the body of all those that might be experiencing a health challenge. And God knows what God needs to do. So I clear my mind of any thoughts that might be stopping or blocking my health. I am knowing that every cell, every atom, every muscle, every organ, every blood vessel, everything in my body is hearing this prayer and knowing this truth. That when I say God is and I am, it is the power of God that expresses. And my only charge is to step out of my way and know that truth, to be in that presence, to saturate my mind with the complete understanding that all is well. I don't let my conditions out there speak to me about what my limits are. I speak to my limits and let them know how powerful God is in every circumstance. So I let God be God by means of me, by means of the doctors, by means of all the medical things that have to happen in order for surgeries to happen, in order for wellness to happen. Even in the medication, it's God in pill form. I'm knowing that to be true. And with that understanding, I am so grateful. I'm grateful to know that I am already healed, and that there really is nothing to heal. It's the revelation that I know my truth right here and now. And that's the story that I feed myself every day. Rather than feeding myself negative things, I believe in this truth. I let it be so. And as I release this prayer into the law, it's done into the law of mind. And that law of mind knows all, sees all, is all, knows exactly what to do to create the ideal situation, health-wise, mentally wise, spiritually wise, and it is done. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And together we say, and so it is. Okay. I think we have liftoff. Oh, David, okay.
Thank you, Reverend you said Gregory. Reverend Mary.
You're welcome. I'll have to talk like this and say I'm a vegan.
I just want to say you are magnificent.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
You covered everything, so I don't need to ask for prayer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I felt that when, sometimes you just get those God bumps and you just go, wow, it's a lifting. It's just one of the things my God, I've been a minister. I was thinking about this. I've been doing this over 30 years. And I thought, even no matter how much, it's that no matter how much you think you know, all of a sudden you wake up and you go, I don't know anything. I don't even, I got to go. If I was as smart as all the books that I have on my bookshelf that I've read, I thought, my goodness, every day we just have to work it. We have to work it. It works if you work it, and we just have to work it and catch ourselves and remind ourselves and bless every situation that comes in, saying, oh, you're just here to remind me of how wonderful I am and what a great thinker I am and how powerful God is, So that's it. All righty, well, happy Wednesday. Let's make sure to know in our prayers the folks that are up by my neck of the woods in Altadena. There's a lot of nerves right now because we're expecting 5 inches of rain and folks are stressed, and so we're just knowing all works out perfect for them and everybody's safe. Okay? All right, have a great Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.